Ever since Pokemon has existed, there's been an interesting quirk with each game that other franchises don't often experience like Pokemon does. Every new game/generation has a brand new art style with its own feel and look exclusive to each and one of them. With Generation 6, Pokemon made it one of its biggest changes that it had ever made at that point, turning Pokemon into a 3D franchise, something fans had been wanting for a very long time, but this didn't come without its challenges. Fans, while seemingly impressed, were also disappointed with some of the changes, and as time went on, Pokemon's graphics were put under bitter analysis. So since Pokemon's graphics have been under scrutiny, fans started trying to fix the issue by coming into Game Freak's office and
Game Freak, go back to 2D.
But didn't you just ask us to go 3D?
Then how about 2D HD? That's a compromise all fans will love.
Most fans seem to like 3D, actually. I mean, just look at Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl sales.
All you do is look at the sales. I knew it wasn't a good idea to buy them.
So you bought them?
Yeah,
Why?
because I like... Wait, I know what you're trying to pull here. That won't work on me. I won't admit to buying all versions of every game you've ever published. Ha!
I mean, I wasn't there at the event that definitely took place, but it must have gone something like that, right? In any case, one of the ideas fans have been throwing out there is for Pokemon to actually go back to the good old days with 2D sprites and all that, to which I quite honestly have to say, no, I feel like it's a really selfish request in my opinion, that really just looks for comfort, and it's not in the franchise's best interest. Or at the very least, that's how I see it. It wouldn't have a lot of broad appeal, as given the controversy that comes up with each game, the sales that follow seem to be pretty contradictory. That leads me to think most fans actually are totally happy with what they're getting, and probably even prefer 3D over 2D. And I mean, I don't have proper statistics to back me up on that or anything, so you take it as you will. I also put 2D HD in the same category, but perhaps for side games it could work. But I also can't help but feel like limiting Pokemon to this would not really be received well by the wider fan base. It's a very niche art style and can only appeal to so many people. Another important point to consider is that 3D has opened so many doors for the franchise, like open world and Pokemon acting lively in their environments. Not to mention the things such as Pokemon Me or the newly introduced Synchro Machine, etc. While 2D could be interesting as a spin-off, I believe 3D is the way to go for Pokemon. Now let's look at the opposite of 2D and look at the ultra-realistic 3D games. I say realistic, but really it's just information overload to me. Other than Nintendo, I don't play video games, and while that has its own reasons, some of them are because of its more stylized approach and art style. And I feel like given its success, a lot of other people must feel the same way too. Pokemon doesn't need some over-detailed game as its future, but if you think otherwise, let me know. So I'm saying I don't want the franchise to go too backwards or too forwards. So what is it that I actually want? Well, simply put, I think Pokemon is doing well already. They change up their art style with each generation, and you can definitely see them improve with each game. Even if there were areas that they may have experienced a lack of polish in, to me, I've always wanted Pokemon to get to Pokemon Snap type of graphics, perhaps a bit more stylized, but in that direction at least. And in the meantime, let the side games get a bit more experimental. And I feel like they've been getting closer to that with Scarlet and Violet, having so much more detail while keeping the Pokemon identity. And Pokemon spin-offs such as the Mystery Dungeon games have been also going with the experimental approach. I'd love to see Pokemon try out new things without having to arrange an entire massive fan base, such as even myself. I'm not really sure if I'd play a main series and game in such a different style, but you never know, maybe it would work out really great. But to be honest, there's secretly a style I'd love to see Pokemon try, and we actually have already seen it in Scarlet and Violet's DLC, being in Terrapagoses. Now, I don't know what it is, but something about how it's rendered looks gorgeous to me, and I'd love to see Pokemon take that approach for a full-blown Pokemon game. But then again, that's my bias talking, and will likely alienate a lot of fans too, so at the end of the day, we're all really biased in our own unique ways. So I may disagree with what you want, and you may disagree with what I want. That's what makes us as people so unique. And so I would say if you'd love Pokemon to go in a certain specific direction that you want, go for it. I mean, it's not like you're developing the games, I mean, probably at least, but own that opinion and feel free to share. I'm very excited to see how the next Pokemon games in the franchise will turn out, but as we wait, let me tell you about why it's okay to like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!